Hi there, you're on Gossip Says channel. Enjoy watching, subscribe and like it. It's growing our community.
Story 1. I, 21NB, am feeling off about my partner's, 23M, request to shave my facial hair when meeting his mother. How can I best navigate this situation? Hey, so I, 21, have been seeing my boyfriend, 23, for a few months now, but have known him for over a year. Important context. I am non-binary, was born a girl, and have medically transitioned, take testosterone, and got my breasts removed. To everyone who meets me, I am seen as a man. I have facial hair, a deep voice, a masculine build and height, etc. Even my partner thought I was born a guy when we first met. This is central to the problem at hand. So, he comes from a religious and conservative background, but no longer believes in the stuff he used to. Before we started getting close, he was straight, but now considers himself as queer, and for all intents and purposes is in a gay relationship with me. His family, however, is from another country where trans people and elite are seen as a Western thing that doesn't exist in their culture. More of a passive belief of, let them do what they want, but don't bring it around me kind of thing. Recently, he told his mom, who he currently lives with, that he is dating me and explained that I am non-binary, not a girl. He told her my background, that I was born as a girl but don't identify or view myself that way, and that I've taken steps to become more androgynous. I am fine with her knowing this, but she didn't really understand and got a bit upset at the idea, in particular when she was told I got my breasts removed. So the problem arises when he was telling me about all of this. I got the impression that he wasn't fully truthful about just how much I have transitioned. From what he told me, he basically explained to her that I got my breasts removed and have a deeper voice. But I don't think he really expressed just how much I am a man. I think part of this, if not most of it, is due to the fact that she would not accept a gay relationship, or that at the very least it would be more difficult for her to accept. However, at this point, she is most likely imagining him dating a masculine girl, which puts me in a difficult predicament. She has no idea what I look or sound like though. She wants to meet me sometime in the near future, as he and I are planning to be in a long-term relationship. My boyfriend, however, has requested that I shave my facial hair when we meet, as to not shock her as much with my appearance. At first I thought I was fine with the idea, but the more I've been thinking about it, the more it rubs me the wrong way. First, me having facial hair or not will not hide how masculine I appear to the world. But more than that, the fact that he is trying to shield her from how much of a guy I am is starting to get to me. I feel like he is trying to get me to alter my appearance to mitigate the lie of omission he gave to his mother when he didn't adequately explain our gay relationship. I worry that he is accidentally setting this whole thing up for disaster, and that I will be put into an incredibly uncomfortable situation, alongside his mother who is wanting to meet her son's weird girlfriend, not his weird boyfriend. I am looking for an outside perspective here and possible advice as to how I can talk to him about these concerns so that they can be addressed before any meeting takes place. If in the end I have to shave, maybe that's fine, and that in and of itself matters less than the situation itself feeling like it's full of deception. Though it's taken me months and months to get my facial hair to where it is and I'm really happy with it, and don't want to have to regrow it again. He respects his mom and her opinion, and doesn't want to hurt her. And I would also love to form a connection with her, but that definitely can't happen while she is expecting her son to bring a tomboy to dinner or whatever. I'm just really worried about the whole thing, and don't know if what I'm feeling is normal or overreacting. I am asking how to best approach the conversation with my partner, in a way that is both constructive and relays my own feelings while being considerate to the familial pressure he is facing. Story 2. How do I, 30F, distance myself from mentally ill family member, 32M? Sorry, this is long. So just for some context, I have a family member who has struggled with mental health issues for several years, mostly severe anxiety and depression. They take medication that very obviously isn't working, so they self-medicate with alcohol. They live at home because there is just simply no way they could take care of themselves. They drink to the point of being almost blacked out and then get extremely depressed. It's worrisome as he has actually fallen and hurt himself several times when he was alone. He does have a job and doesn't drink during work or if he has to wake up early the next day, but he's always absolutely obliterated on his weekends. I constantly worry when I know that he has days off, because there's such a high chance something bad could happen. My family has told him and begged him multiple times to speak with a doctor and get professional help, but he flat out refuses. They won't kick him out because they know he'll be homeless. A few years ago, while visiting home for Christmas, this family member revealed that they often think about suicide and have made plans that they just didn't go through with. They also self-harm from time to time. I listened to him, told him how that would impact me/the family, and that I cared for him and needed him to be alive. I also told him about my own mental health struggles and how I'd gotten help for them. That it's a legit medical condition that can be treated, and he deserves to feel better. He again flat out refused ever getting any sort of help, told me he wouldn't take his life, and then changed the subject. He calls me hammered almost every weekend, which is beyond exhausting. But I worry that if he's in a bad place, and I'm the only person he calls, something terrible will happen if I don't pick up. So I always do. I usually sit in silence as he drunkenly rambles on telling me the same things he's told me 100x before. Tonight, he called drunk and just sat in silence for a while and then told me he had plans to kill himself early this week, but he didn't, so he's really proud. I asked him why he felt like he had to do that, and he didn't answer. I then told him he needs medical attention, and he said he made an appointment with a therapist but canceled it because it was too expensive. I forwarded him several free/cheap resources while we were on the phone and told him to reach out. I said he needs to talk to someone. He said he probably won't try to make another appointment, but it's okay because I'm his therapist. Which I'm not, and that really pissed me off. A. I'm not a qualified therapist or mental health professional. B. I can't mentally handle being the dumping ground for all of his darkest thoughts on top of my own. C. It's causing me stress, anxiety, and hindering my relationship with my husband. Whenever he calls, I always answer. Often when my husband and I are out enjoying an evening together. After I get off the phone with him, I feel tired, anxious, and on edge. My mood sours, and that's not fair to him. I want to help this person. I don't want them to be alone with no one to talk to. I don't want them to feel like no one cares because I do. I just can't keep doing this for the sake of my own mental health. I know if he won't help himself, nothing will change. How can I begin to distance myself from him or set better boundaries without making it seem like I've given up on him? And how do I do this without giving myself even more anxiety over the thought that if I don't answer him, he'll do something terrible? How do I keep this from impacting my relationship with my husband when it's the only thing on my mind? P.S. I have told him that I can't do anything if he won't seek help for himself, but he simply ignores it and continues to use me as a therapist. I would also call 911, but he's never in immediate danger when he shares this with me, so I know there's not much they can do since he's an adult. Story 3. My F31 long-distance boyfriend, M30, invited his friend, F late 20s, to stay at his apartment for a week. Some background. My Beth and I have been in an exclusive long-distance relationship for 5 years. We live apart due to our work/school, but we have been making it work, talking on the phone every night, seeing each other at least once a month, etc. We are both overall happy with our relationship and plan to live together within the next year. This is not what I want advice on, but just laying down some background information. Recently, my Beth said, I don't know how to tell you this, but my old group member from uni, Sarah, is going to stay at my apartment next week for a conference. I know that Sarah exists because I remember her name from being a part of a semester-long group project he did. The group had to spend quite a bit of time together, but I had never met her and didn't know anything else about her besides her name, and they were in this group together. I haven't heard anything about her since this project, till 2 years ago, and was not aware they are close friends or kept in contact. He has since finished his degree and moved to a different city, till 1 year ago. There was a conference in my Beth's city that is related to their field that they were both going to attend. The conference was from Wednesday-Saturday, and the plan was for her to stay at his place from Monday-Wednesday. I asked where she would sleep, and he said on the couch. I didn't think this would be an ideal setup for a guest, seeing as the couch is old and uncomfortable, and is located in the living room right next to the bathroom he shares with 3 other guys, mid-20s. I didn't ask any other questions, but I told him I wasn't comfortable with it and how he had invited her without talking with me about it first. So the week comes and my Beth calls or messages me to say goodnight every night, which I appreciated. Sarah had some activities she planned for them to do together in his city and surrounding area, going to some different museums, a day trip to a nearby city, etc. on the non-conference days, along with attending the conference together and going out to eat and having drinks every evening before returning to his apartment. My Biff is quite introverted, and this is the first time since I've known him that he has spent so much time nonstop with anyone besides me. For some more context, I have quite a few good male friends. I work in a male-dominated field that I regularly hang out with. I never have them at my place, nor do I go to theirs, unless it's a big group hangout. But this was my choice, and we have never discussed specific boundaries regarding this. My Biff seems to be very secure in our relationship and has never shown any jealousy towards my friendships. And he knows about all of them and they know about him. However, I struggle with jealousy issues that I have been working on, and one of the biggest issues in our relationship is that I don't feel involved or prioritized enough in his life. During my Beth's and Sarah's time together, I felt extremely insecure and hurt, so I visited my Beth 1 week after she left so we could talk in person. When I was there, we were signing into a game we like to play together, and I saw both his and her email addresses in the drop-down login area. His laptop is connected to a big screen in front of his bed, so when I visit we play games, watch movies, etc. from his bed. I asked him why her email address was there and if they had also played the game / watched movies in his bed. He reassured me she didn't step foot in his bed, but he couldn't remember why she used his laptop in his room at his desk. I asked him why she didn't just use her own laptop in the living room. He said he couldn't remember, but maybe she needed to check her flights or something, and instead of connecting to his Wi-Fi, she used his laptop instead. I guess I assumed they would just hang out in the living room and kitchen rather than his bedroom, but we hadn't talked about it. This made me uncomfortable, but I just dropped it. My Buff reassured me that nothing sexual / romantic happened. I believe and trust him, but the whole thing is bothering me so much, I think, because of how intimate it all feels to me. After seeing how hurt I am about this, he apologized for inviting her without telling me first. I asked him if I had told him it made me uncomfortable before he invited her, if he would have done anything differently. He said no, he still would have invited her, because he doesn't see anything wrong with it and doesn't understand why I feel so insecure about it. He also tried to reassure me by telling me she knows he has a Jeff and that she also has a Buff. I'm still really struggling to get past this whole situation, and he doesn't think it makes sense for me to be hurt over it. So Reddit, I'm wondering if my discomfort is warranted, or is my boyfriend right that I am just letting my insecurities get the best of me? I'd appreciate any insights to help me move on from this, and so we can deal with it better if / when another similar situation comes up in the future. Story 4. My 22M girlfriend 21F won't seek professional help for extreme separation anxiety, and I can't keep dealing with it. My girlfriend and I have been together for 4 years now. Been living together for almost 1.5 years. We have our usual issues like any couple, but they've been getting worse as opposed to better. Our biggest theme of disagreements / emotional conversations is that I require a lot of alone time to stay sane. I work as an EMT full-time, have another job training clients in a gym, and I'm in the military reserves and probably average 55 to 60 hours a week working. It's a lot of self-imposed stress, but the state I live in isn't cheap as far as rent goes, and I have 2 years on contract left, so quitting any of those isn't an option right now. I need time to process my day, go to the gym, go for my runs, and generally be prepared for the things I do every day, and have time to do things that relax me as well. My girlfriend, on the other hand, is the opposite. She works a lot too, at 2 restaurants, maybe 55 to 60 hours as well. At both restaurants, she does what she loves, which is cooking. But when she's off, she wants me. Sometimes it's very cute and wholesome, and I appreciate our connection very much, but it gets to be a lot. It started when we lived separately, and it felt like every week she wanted almost the whole weekend to be spent together. It was expected. Like when I had plans either alone or with friends, she would become audibly sad or confused. Eventually, I had to talk to her about how it's not reasonable to spend every hour of free time together, especially since my social battery by the end of the week is pretty shot. Not much improvement for a while, but some progress was made. Then we decided to move in together. Mistakenly, I thought maybe since I would see her at least a little, for a few hours, every day and get to go to bed with her every day, that she would be more satisfied with the amount of quality time we would get together. It's not why we moved in together. Our families were just beginning to be too much for us to stay in our original spaces. But she became even more anxious when I would be away for military weekends. I understood she doesn't like sleeping alone, but it's been to the point where she breaks down before I leave for these things, even with several weeks of warning. I can't work too long or I come home to tears, but I can't work less or there's no rent money. I can't make plans with other people on days we both have off. I can't go to the gym too early in the morning or she gets sad that I leave her in bed. I can't work out after work or she is anxious that she has to be in bed alone. I can't stay in the home office by myself or I'm ignoring her. I will literally spend 8 to 12 hours with her, having planned a day together, and I'll get tears that we didn't spend the whole day together, as if I clocked out early from something. I can't tell her about the things I see at work or she'll become more distressed about it than me, so I can't even use our time together to vent about my own concerns. The only time I have to do anything either without her or without having to plan around her separation anxiety is the hour to couple hours a day that our schedules do not align to be off at the same time. I know this is a lot of her statements, but I really got to be clear that I am absolutely trying. If she has an episode, I pretty much drop anything else for the couple hours it takes her to recompose herself. If she wants to go get dinner, I'll make it happen. If she wants plans on a Sunday, I'll find something. If she wants to stay home, I will try not to make any errand plans that day. But it's become too much. I dread these plans some days. Our quality time is a chore now. Our sex life is suffering. The dishes don't get done, and the house doesn't get cleaned because she's too tired to, and I can't leave her alone when we're both home. The stress and anxiety she's under has kept her from eating well and getting exercise, so she's put on weight. So now she stresses about her appearance, but yet she won't go to the gym with me like we used to when I offer. It's all just spiraling, and I can't get her to see someone to see what's going on. I've considered a therapist just for myself to deal with what's been on my mind, since talking to her about it either gets nowhere or brings her to another episode. Where do I even go with this? Would couples therapy even be an option at this point?